nutcracker wedding?
Yeah. There's more to that story.
Well, I did before I got out of bed, but then I checked my blood pressure, it was high. So I took my blood pressure medicine, which I'm only supposed to take. I take my blood pressure before I can take it.
Yes. Oh,
It's generally I run
Oh,
low.
yeah. Oh,
And then it dropped me way down, but it didn't take the headache away.
Oh, sure. Well, maybe this will. Quiet. Dark.
Out of room if you're dating.
We're going to the city. She said, well,
Spread out.
yeah, we have to spread out everything in Norman. Let's go to the city.
That'll be fun.
There is someone coming in a little late. If you would point her that way, if I don't see her, that would be great. Thank you. So, let's begin. Sit however's comfortable. We're here for gentle, and it's Thursday, the 22nd of July. So, if you want to sit cross-legged, sit cross-legged. If you want to sit up on blankets, by all means do. But just ease your way into starting to lengthen up through the top of your head and let your eyes gently close. Actually, for a second, bring your hands into your lap and see if you can turn your palms up and cup one hand, it doesn't matter which one because we're going to switch, on top of the other. And if you're comfortable to let the tips of your thumbs just barely meet there and touch, do. But don't force it. Some days that feels good to me, some days not. So just let yourself close your eyes, feel your breath coming in and going out through your nose. See if you can very easily bring your breath into your belly, letting your belly expand a little bit as you inhale. Comfortable to come towards those three-part breaths. You can inhale into your belly, your ribs, and then up into your chest. And then very easily switch the hand that's on top. So you're still cupped with your hands. Again, don't force the tips of the thumbs touching lightly, but if that works for you, you can. Go back to your breath. Let your next exhale bring your hands to meet in front of your chest, coming into your prayer hands there. And on your next inhale, rise your hands up. Now, it doesn't matter how high the hands go. It depends on your shoulders. They may go higher than your head. They may not. And then when you exhale, you're going to let your hands come right back down to be in front of your chest. So just let yourself start to move hands up and down with your breath, waking up into the arms and the shoulders, letting yourself enjoy feeling that movement just of the breath carrying your hands up and down. And then the next time that the hands come right back to be in front of your chest, let them stay there. Good. And then we'll unfold our arms right on down beside us. And let's inhale the arms out like wings and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse those arms, keeping the hands together, inhaling the hands up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. And let's inhale here at center. And on the exhale, we're going to twist to our right. Let yourself come around into a twist. And once you get into the twist, go ahead and receive your inhale. And when you exhale, come on back around and twist off into the other direction. So this is going to be done with your breath too. Inhale when you're in your twist into the length of your spine. And on the exhales, you'll come twisting around into the other direction. So you may not be on the same side as anybody else. Just let yourself go with your breath. And then the next time that you exhale, just stop back at center. So as you come to unwind here, make your way back into center. Good. And let's come into a little bit of a seated forward bend. Now, you all on the floor, you're welcome to stretch your legs out or stay cross-legged. You can bring your hands down to the floor. Same thing if you're in your chair. If you want to go lower, you can widen your feet out. You can let your elbows rest above your knees or bring your hands down farther. You know, this all depends on your back, how you feel in your back. So be mindful. Let your head hang if you can. Release your neck. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to slowly make our way on back up. Use your hands to help you however you need. And you all on the floor, if you're cross-legged, stretch your legs out for a second and then switch the leg that you have in front when you come back to cross-legged. So you're altering the leg that you have in front. And then from here, let's release our arms out beside us and inhale the hands straight out from our shoulders. For a second, flex your hands, feel the undersides of your arms. And then let your fingers face down, so the tips of the fingers are down, so you feel more the tops of the arms. And then just let your hands circle around easily. So circling the hands, keep going in the same direction for another couple of circles. And then we'll stop and reverse. So you circle the hands the other way. Good. And then finish off. Let your palms face down for a second. Reach out through your fingertips. And then rotate for your palms to face up and let your elbows soften, right? Elbows are kind of dropping down towards the ground. And then bend your elbows enough to put your fingertips right there on the tops of your shoulders. And as you exhale, bring your elbows forward and towards each other. Doesn't matter how far. And when you inhale, let them open back out to the side. So as you exhale, elbows come forward or even to touch each other if you want. And as you inhale, you'll reach them back again. So one more time, exhaling, letting the elbows come as far as you want. And then inhale and let them open out. And we're going to unfold our arms on down beside us. Now, if you're in your chair, you can just lean back in your chair and let your chest come a little bit forward as you open up here. On the floor, fingertips can be on the floor behind you, or you can go right on back to your hands if you want. But let yourself feel that sense of like the sternum is coming forward on a diagonal line, but be really mindful of your neck. So don't drop your head back if you can help it. Maybe look a little bit up. Maybe bring your gaze more forward. It really depends on how your neck feels. Good. And then we'll release to come back up. Bring your chin down towards your chest. And then turn your head a little bit side to side. So letting yourself ease through your neck. If you find some really tight places where you think, oh, I just want to stay there, then do. And you can even roll your one ear towards one shoulder if you like just a little bit more of releasing through the side of the neck. And we'll finish off to be back at center with our head. And then come on back up, letting your gaze come on back forward. And we're going to come around towards our hands and knees. And you know if you don't want to be on your knees, you're going to use your chair seat so that you won't be down on the floor. If you're on the floor and your knees don't like it, then put a blanket underneath your knees, right? So that you're able to have yourself comfortable in your knees and let yourself just be mindful here. Good. And take your time for a second. See if you can just let your tail wag a little bit side to side. So your hips just shift a little bit, and let your head respond however feels good. You know, you may want to let your head look at your hips as they go to one side, or you may want the head to go the other direction. So if you shift to the left with your hips, your head might want to go right. Just play a little bit. And then come on back into center. Look down between your hands. Take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, draw up into your cat pose. Feel your tailbone drawing down. Feel the navel drawing towards your spine. And when you inhale, send your tailbone back and then up a little bit. Feel how your belly drops down, your ribs sink down. You can stay looking down, or you can look forward in your cow if you choose to. So as you exhale, tailbone draws up under you and you just round up into the back. And when you inhale, send your tailbone back and up, and you can stay looking between your hands, or you can look more forward depending on you. So if you can, just keep moving through those cat-cows very easily. Of course, if you do like being in cat or cow for a couple of breaths without moving, go right ahead and stay there. Good. And then we'll finish off the one we're on. We're going to come to more neutral spine here. And we're going to bring our left foot forward and our right foot back to come into lunge. Now, you may decide you want a pretty short lunge. Remember, you do want your feet a little apart, like you're on really narrow railroad tracks, right? So you don't want to line your feet up and be on a tightrope, which puts your hips into a really different place. So just be mindful. Feel the back of that right leg opening up. Let yourself enjoy, engage your belly a little bit, kind of zip up your low belly. Good, and we're going to switch legs. Remember, if your wrists feel uncomfortable, you can change how you have your hands. You know, you can go up to fingertips, you can hold the edge of the seat of the chair if you're on your chair. You can go to fists too, if it feels pressure or, discomfort in your wrists. Be mindful. Open up the back of that left leg here, engage your belly. And we're going to switch again. So as that right leg comes back again, you're coming into, as long as a lunge just feels good to you, right? Take your time, draw your shoulders down away from your ears. And we're going to switch again. Just be mindful of really enjoying that release in the back of that left leg. And we're going to step forward from here. Come on into a standing forward bend. Now you're welcome to be up as high as you want. You can even grab a block or blocks, 2 blocks, to be on your chair so that you keep the length of your spine. If that feels better for you than coming down lower, right? Same thing if you all don't have a chair. You can use your blocks under your hands. You can put your elbows above your knees and support your back that way with your knees bent. So only you know how your back feels when you're in a forward bend. Let yourself, if possible, feel the weight of your head, so your head kind of hangs a little bit. If that bothers your back, though, don't do it. And just breathe. Nice, easy breaths, feeling the ribs expand as you inhale. And imagine on your exhales that your face just gets softer and softer and softer. Every time you exhale, you just release more and more through your face and your jaw. Good. One more breath. From here, we'll bend our knees and bring our hands to our hips. We're going to rise up to standing. Then release our arms beside us and inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down together in front of our hearts. So coming into mountain pose, if you need to look at your feet, by all means do, so that you don't have like one foot farther forward than the other, which is pretty common. Or even sometimes one foot wants to turn out and the other one is, toes are facing forward. So try to get as even as you can. Sometimes lifting your toes up helps to do that too. And then if your toes were up, let them come on down and bring your gaze forward and hands to meet in front of your chest. I love to close my eyes in mountain pose, but if you feel at all dizzy, better to keep your eyes open. Imagine you're looking out beyond the wall, out towards where the horizon would be. If you're standing outside in an empty, open field. And just feel the feet very equal into the floor. And let your knees bend just a little bit and press down into your feet, like you're pushing the floor away from you with your feet. And then imagine that you're just growing up out of those rooted feet. So feel your thighs start to tighten up a little bit. They lift upward towards your hips. You feel your hips over your ankles and your shoulders over your hips. And then go ahead and unfold your arms right on down beside you. And we're going to inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, we're going to bend our knees and come forward into a standing forward bend. Use your chair as you need. You know that. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long flat back. And we'll step our right foot back to come into lunge. So draw your shoulders down. Let yourself find your lunge here. Enjoy finding your whole body in your lunge. And from here, we'll make our way into a downward facing dog pose. So if your down dog is best done with your hands up on a surface, you can use a chair, you can use the blocks any height. Feel your elbows softly hugging towards each other. Bend both your knees for just a second and really reach back through your sitting bones equally. Good. And then on your next inhale, come out like you're going to come into a push-up pose. You're coming out to your plank. Now, you don't have to go all the way. You can shift just a little bit. Just make sure you take your time. Let yourself ease your way out to where you can be. And then as you make your way back into down dog, let yourself reach back into your dog. And we're going to bring our right foot forward from here and come on back into that lunge. So remember, if you're on the floor, you need to put your left knee down too. Let your shoulders draw down away from your ears. Good. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. Again, use what feels good for you for support. Just make sure that you kind of feel your sitting bones over your heels. You're not shifting your weight, your hips way back behind you at all. And that's why a forward bend will really open up the backs of your legs very naturally and easily. Even if your knees are bent, even if you have support underneath your elbows, your forearms, or your hands. One more full deep breath. And then as we rise up, let your hands come to your hips, press into your feet, come on up to standing, and inhale the arms out and up overhead. And on your exhale, let your hands come down together in front of your heart. From here, let's unfold our arms, and let's inhale our right arm all the way out and up overhead. And then turn your right palm to face in towards the midline of the body, and let your left palm connect to your left leg here. And then slide your left hand down your leg and let yourself come as far as you want into a side stretch, breathing into the right side. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to rise back up. We're going to lower that right arm down, and we're going to inhale the left arm up. And then again, slide that hand, that right hand that's on the leg, down a little bit. Go as far as you want. Let yourself breathe into that side of the body there that you're stretching. And then we're going to rise back up. We're going to lower our arms on down. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, we'll bend our knees as we come forward into that standing forward bend. Again, let your next inhale help you find a flat back. So think about being a tabletop back there. And this time, left foot steps back to come into lunge. Let your shoulders draw down away from your ears. Enjoy finding the length here in the back of that left leg. And we'll make our way into a downward facing dog pose. So, you know, your dog, totally up to you. Your shoulders, everybody's different, right? So the blocks can help because you can get a little more ease in your shoulders. Sometimes you need to change your height on the blocks. Also be careful if you're using blocks because they can be very tippy, right? So take your time, hands wherever you like. Let your next inhale now bring you out towards your plank. So you come on out again like you're going to do a push-up if you can. If you can't, don't do it. Put your knees down or go to your forearms to be in a forearm plank. Get out of your hands if you want to. And then we'll come back into down dog again. Reaching back through our sitting bones equally. Walk a little bit if you can in your dog by just bending one knee and then the other. Gets a little more into the back of one leg at a time. Good, and then we'll bring our left foot forward. We're going to come into that lunge again. So again, whatever you need to do to get back to the lunge. Good, and then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Again, just breathe as you start to release your way to where you like to be in your forward bend. Nice, easy breaths. Feel your ribs expand. Let go through your face again, and really let go through your jaw. So if you feel tight, sometimes just opening and closing your mouth a little bit or moving your mouth around helps kind of release your jaw. Just make sure you're not clenching your teeth. One more full deep breath. And then as we bend both our knees and press into our feet, we'll bring our hands to our hips and rise back up. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bring your hands to your heart and sit back into a little chair pose. So really, think about a chair being right behind you. It can be a really high chair, obviously. Or you can, if you want to go lower, you can go lower and let yourself feel your knees coming out over the center of your feet. You can look and make sure that you're not sending the knees outward or inward. Really find that sense of coming into your thighs and your hips. Good. One more breath here. And then press into your feet. Rise back up. Inhale your hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms like wings as you come forward to standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find that flat back again. And we're going to walk into a downward facing dog pose from here. So you let your hands go to whatever surface you like for your down dog. Your hands can be on the blocks or the chair or the floor. If you can spread your fingers out wide, do. It's harder with blocks, I know, but feel your elbows hugging towards each other. Let your next inhale bring you out towards that plank. Again, you don't have to do a full push-up pose plank. You can let yourself come to a half. If you like a back bend here, you can add it. You can let your hips come down a little bit. Maybe bring your gaze a little forward, or even send your chest there forward if you like. And then come on back to down dog. Remember, back bends are optional. Also, if you prefer to come onto the floor and do a little sphinx or a cobra instead of anything more drastic, you can. One more time, we'll come out to that plank. And again, it is optional to do a back bend here. You don't have to. You can come through to a back bend of choice or not. And then we'll make our way back again into downward facing dog pose. This time we will bring our left foot forward to come into lunge. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Feet hip distance apart and parallel. Take your time. Let yourself come to your breath. Wherever you want your hands to go, if you like to hold your elbows, go ahead. If you know that's too much, that's really a lot in some people's backs. Just don't do it. Use support. But just feel the breath. Let yourself experience that sense of the weight of your head helping you find more space in your spine. Good. And then we'll bring our hands back up to our hips, bend our knees, and rise up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Now let's bring our arms straight out from our shoulders. And then bring your left arm on top of your right and give yourself a hug. Let your elbows melt down. You can bring your chin down too if that feels good. And turn your head a little bit. If you want, you can even kind of let your shoulders kind of come down a little bit, one side at a time, if that feels good. Just play around a little bit there. And then finish off back at center. Let your head stay down for a second. And then go ahead and bring your gaze forward. Now you can decide. You can release your hands and let them just come a little bit towards each other like this, which is more in the shoulders. You can go farther with the hands, backs of the hands coming towards each other, if that feels okay. Or you can put your right hand into your fingers into your left palm. And if you like that, really full eagle wrap there. Not necessary to do that. One more breath. And then let your elbows come down, unfold your arms on down, and then inhale the arms straight back out into a T position. And we're going to bring our right arm on top this time. So let yourself come into elbows, melting down. Kind of find where you want to hold, more to your armpits or over your shoulders. Chin comes down. Let your knees soften a little bit too so you're not locking. And then again, move your head around a little bit, or even your shoulders around a little bit, right? Whatever feels good. Let it feel really easy. Releasing there in the upper back and especially your neck. And finish with the head on back to center. And then bring your head back up so you're looking forward and release your shoulders if you can. Try to send just a little bit more into the shoulders here. If that doesn't work, don't do it. Stay hugging. If you want to reach the backs of the hands towards each other or your left fingers into your right palm, you can. Totally up to your shoulders, and you know that. One more breath. And then let yourself release your arms right on down beside you. Let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down through the midline to be in front of your heart. Find your mountain pose here now. Feel your feet equal in the floor. And enjoy the energy flowing through your body after sun salutations that really get every part of the body warmed up. And then we'll release our arms on down. Kind of shake out a little bit if you need to. Let's turn our chair around. If we're using our chair, turn the back of the chair around to face you. And everybody else, make sure if you don't have a chair that you have your blocks handy there. We're going to step our right foot back, coming into Warrior Two. So you can keep your hand on your chair. You can even put your foot kind of under your chair so that you can keep your hand there to keep your balance. But it doesn't matter if your feet are 2 feet apart or 3 feet or 4 feet. Get that back foot, that right foot, about parallel to the back edge of your mat. And let your left foot be about parallel to the long edge of your mat. Keep going a little bit more. Keep turning it that way. There you go. And now look at those. She's got her legs. All right. So there you are. Take your time. Look down at your left knee. Make sure you're not bending it any farther forward than your ankle. Good. And then start to reach that right arm behind you and see if you can turn to look back over your right hand. So you see that the hand is directly back from your shoulder. And then start to turn to look the other way. And we're going to bring that left hand forward. Now you can keep the hand down on the chair if you need it. So take your time. Look at her right there. There you go. And let yourself feel the feet in the floor. Good. Let's bring our back hand, right hand down onto our leg. Turn your left palm up. Slide your right hand down a little bit. Let yourself look up if your neck lets you. If it doesn't, look forward. But breathe into your left ribs. And on your exhale, come into your side angle. Now you can either put your left hand or your forearm onto your chair or your thigh. Right? Totally up to you. You're extending your torso out over that front leg. Good. And now if you can add that right arm, swing it in front of your body and let it come on up into line with that right side of the body. But if it doesn't work, don't do it. Good. And we're going to come on back to Warrior Two from here. Let yourself reach through the fingertips. Let yourself find that nice strength and power of your Warrior Two. And we're going to let our hands come down. And now we're going to turn our feet more parallel as we face the long side of the mat. So we're all going to face that way. And then come on forward. Bend your knees. Come on into your wide-legged forward bend. You might want blocks. You want the chair or do you want blocks?
I'm not sure.
So as you come forward, one, you have this instead of blocks. So it don't go so low. I remember last time you went down, actually. Bend the knee at a time once you get down there.
Like this.
Yeah, you touched before last time I remember. Yeah, you don't need the chair. So take your time, let yourself use your blocks if you want them there. Use your blocks if you need them. Shift side to side, and when you get ready to come back into center, let both your knees be a little bent. See if you can let your elbows rest above your knees for a second. Kind of like you're gonna, reach down to hike a football. You're reaching back through your tailbone. Yes, good. Flat back. And then go ahead and come back down. Now, if you want, you can stack your blocks up to be in this pose for a few breaths where you're really just focusing on your breath. You want to be mindful. You don't want to feel stress anywhere. I mean, you're obviously using your legs, so you're engaged in the bottom half of your body, but you really want to try to release in your upper body. So if that means supporting yourself in any way, do. And then just receive those breaths. Full deep breaths in and out. Good. So one more nice deep full breath. Now to come on up to standing from here. Everybody's different. You may decide you feel like you need to put your hands on your thighs to help you. Bring your feet more together before you come up. If you're dizzy, you can put your hand on your chair and you can walk your feet together. Take your time. We're going to go around to the other side. So you guys who moved your blocks around, if you think you're going to need them, move them on back. And we're going to bring our right foot forward and our left foot back. So now you're going to be bringing the right foot forward, the left foot back. And we're going to line our foot up, that front foot parallel to the long edge of your mat. The back foot is about parallel to the back edge. And once you bend that left knee and you look at it, you know if you've got it too far inward. You've got to make sure it's going out over the center of the foot. Lift that left arm back behind you and see if you can just look back. Make sure your arm's back there, still there, and then turn your head to the right. Let yourself start to release to maybe bring that hand off the chair. If you feel a lack of balance, keep your hand on the chair. Good. And now put your left hand down on your left back leg back there. We're going to turn the right palm up and inhale, reaching up. Now this is up to you how far you go, right? If your neck bothers you, you can keep looking forward. Stretch through that right side. Good. One more breath. And on the exhale, we're going to come into side angle. So you can put your hand or your forearm on your chair or your thigh, right? Your torso is extending out over that leg. If your left arm can swing up a little bit into line with the side of the body, let yourself come into your side angle there, right? Don't force it. It's fine to be up higher. You don't need to worry about being low. One more breath. And then we're going to come on back to Warrior Two. Press the feet a little away from each other. See if you can let yourself come back to that powerful, strong Warrior Two. Good. And we're going to let our hands come down. And we're going to turn our feet parallel again. We're going to face the long edge of the mat that way. And then we're going to come forward again. You can have your blocks if you need them. Bend your knees. Take your time. And see once you get there, if you can walk a little bit to the right, towards your right foot. You don't have to go far. You might just shift your blocks a little to the right. You might just walk your hands a little bit. And then if you can walk back through center, see if you can walk to the left. Again, it does not have to be far. Take your time. Let yourself go where you can. And then come on back into center again. And then go ahead and bend a knee at a time. Kind of shift a little bit. Let your body kind of take over to do whatever feels good to you. If you want to do a little bit more of bending knees or walking side to side or shifting around a little bit, do. So that then again, you can find a way to set up to be really comfortable. Remember, those blocks can be used for any number of things. That could be any height. You can use your hands or your forearms on the blocks. You can even put your head on the blocks if you want to. So I know a lot of you really like to bring your hands down more towards between your feet. Just be mindful of your own back. And let your breaths be full and deep. Feeling those nice, full, deep breaths. Imagine you're breathing equally in and out through your nose. And the ribs expand really fully when you inhale. Beautiful. One more breath. Nice. And now to come up, it's the same thing as before. If you need to let your hands come to your thighs, above your knees there to help you, you can press your way up. And if you're dizzy, hold on to whatever you need, right? And we're going to walk our feet together. Good. Shake it out a little bit. From here, let's bring ourselves to seat of the chair. So turn your chair around again so the seat faces you. And everybody else get both your blocks handy at the front of your mat. Because all we're going to do is we're going to step our left foot forward, our right foot back, and come into lunge first. So just find your lunge. Let yourself really easily come into your lunge here. So your left foot is forward and your right foot is back. Good. And then from here, we're going to make our way towards a pyramid pose, right? So we're going to bring that right foot now onto the floor as we straighten our left leg out. So your back foot is turned out just a little bit, 20, 30 degrees for most of us. Both legs are straight now. Now you're trying to feel your thighs lifting up towards your hips. So you're coming into really engaging the legs. It's really like you're creating space in your knees if you feel that lift upward. Now some of you I know like to bow more over that front leg. So you can like use your chair, go lower, or you can just bend your elbows if you're on your blocks and let yourself fold a little bit more over the leg. Not necessary to do that. Definitely be mindful about it. Good. One more breath. And then come up enough to bend your front knee and step your right foot forward now. We're going to get both feet right underneath us. And now get your hands right underneath your shoulders. So if you're using your blocks, make sure your hands are on the blocks like this, right under your shoulders, right? Same thing on your chair. You're just up higher. Let your feet get a little closer together. So you're almost touching your feet together. Almost, but not quite. Probably about an inch or 2 inches between your feet. And then bend both your knees. Lift your right foot up off the floor. So now you're standing just on your left foot and you've got all that weight in your hands. And we're going to extend that right leg back to warrior three with the toes facing down towards the ground. So if you need to bend both knees a little bit, give yourself a break, do. Sometimes it feels really good to bend that supporting knee and reach into that inner right heel back there. Remember, the foot can be lower. You just don't want the leg higher than directly back from your hip there. If you want to release your left hand, you can. You can hold the back of your chair. You can reach your left arm forward if you want. Or maybe just experiment with putting the left hand onto your chest or up onto your hip, right? One more breath. And then let yourself release that foot down. Before you think of it, just step your left foot back and come into a lunge right now. So finding that lunge at first. Letting yourself just enjoy finding the back of the leg opening up. Good. Now remember, we're going to come into pyramid. We're going to straighten the front leg out and lower the back heel to the floor so both legs are straight. And remember, in this pose, you may kind of want your feet a little apart like you're on narrow railroad tracks. Or you might actually want your heels kind of lined up. It depends on how your hips are built. So just be comfortable up in your hips. Obviously you're feeling the backs of your legs, or if you're not, I don't know what to tell you. You can fold over the leg if that feels better, remember. So if you like to bow over that front leg, you can. Take your time, feel those legs still engaging, right? Still lifting thighs up towards the hips. Good, one more breath. Awesome pose. We're gonna bend the front knee. Step forward now, get your feet right underneath you and get your hands under your shoulders. So whether you're up on the chair or down on the blocks, doesn't matter. Feet almost touching, a little bit closer, right? Bend both your knees. So now, right now, you're equal between your feet. So when you lift your left foot up and you're only on your right foot, if it doesn't feel right, put the left foot back down and kind of put the right foot where you think you need it to be, the supporting leg, right? And then extend back into that long warrior three with the toes of the left foot pointing right down towards the floor. And you know, you don't have to be high. You can be where you can. If you'd like to release your right hand, you can let your hand come off to your chest or reach the right arm forward. You don't have to do all this stuff. You know that. Just get what strength you can going in that leg you're standing on. Good. One more breath. And then bring that foot on down. And let's separate our feet wider towards the outside edges of our mat, right? Not on the floor, but almost. And then bend both your knees. Now you can do either elbows above your knees and kind of squat just like that. If you like to squat lower, you're more than welcome to, right? So you can either bring your hands behind your feet and around to the ankles there and let your hips go down. That's a different way to squat. Or you can bring your hips down, all the way down towards the floor. Not everybody's hips and knees do squats. So, you know, be where you can. You can have your hands forward of you and bring your hands to your heart if that feels good. Don't push anything. Heels can be on or off the floor if you're down all the way. Good. And then we're going to let ourselves slowly get the hips back up in the air so we can get our feet right underneath us again. And from here, we're going to bend our knees, press into our feet, and rise on up to standing. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up. And let our exhale bring our hands down. Now, as you come into mountain pose, imagine your head is floating up there on top of your spine. So you feel very lightheaded, and you feel the top of the head reaching up. And see if you can just sway a tiny little bit front to back. Not a big sway, just a little bit, going a little towards the balls of the feet, a little to the heels. So little that really you can hardly see it. And then see if you can stop back center. And then see if you can go right to left a little bit. And that's easier to get bigger on those sways, but see if you can kind of let them be small too. Maybe even get smaller and smaller and smaller till you just end up right there centered between your feet. Feel your hands gently meeting there. Let your elbows melt down. Nice. And then we're going to let our arms come right on down beside us and shake out a little bit. Good. We don't usually do this, but since there's so few of us, let's come to the wall. Okay? So you can actually be right there. You two can go there. So bring your chair off to the side. Larry, you can go there. And Sherry, you can go there. And Kathy, you can go here. Sherry, you go right there. And you just turn your mat that way. And so Kathy, you're going to turn your mat. And everybody's going to get their mat all the way to the wall. So Judy, bring your mat. And Margaret, turn your mat the whole way we used to go. So you're going to turn your mat this way. Yeah. And go a little bit more that way, right? Because I'm going to bring you over here. Oh, are you going to go there, Sherry? Okay, good. Yeah. You can go right here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get your mat.
Oh, wait.
We're going to have the wall now. You don't need a chair. All right? So once you get to the wall, oh, yeah, that'd be great. We'll do that. Perfect. That's fine, Sherry. No, this is good. We're good. We got lots of room here now. So, there you go. So you're going to be right here. I'm going to keep your chair here. I'm going to sit back down.
For sure, this week I had
So,
really, but you know.
come to the wall with your, let's go our left hand to the wall for a minute, okay? And just for a second, just so you kind of get your legs warmed up a little bit, bring your left hand to the wall and then step your right foot up, just like you're stepping up a low step for a second. That's it. That's it. And then just flex the foot. Let yourself stand on one leg. And then bring that foot behind you and flex the foot and draw your right heel towards your buttocks a little bit. But let the knees be side by side. Yeah, okay, well that's just a warm-up. We're going to turn around and do the other side. So we're going to bring the left foot up, and like you're stepping up a step, just kind of get used to it there. And then bring the foot down and send the foot behind you and flex your foot. Let yourself feel your quad. Good. Now we're going to turn and face the wall. All right? And we're going to let ourselves get to where your arms are not quite straight. You're kind of almost straight with your arms from the wall, but step in so you have to bend your elbows a little bit. And now bend your right knee, stand on your left leg and bend the right knee like we did before behind you, with the foot behind you, stretching your quad. And then see if you can put your left forearm on the wall, put your head on your left forearm, and send your right knee back farther. Now some of you at this point might want to reach back and get hold of the top of your foot. So your chest is kind of coming towards the wall. You obviously don't have to get your foot, or may not be able to get your foot, right? That's totally up to you. Let yourself be where you can. Feel the quad. One more breath. And then come on up and let your hands be on the wall. Bring your right knee forward like you're stepping up the step, like we did before. And now you can probably put your toes on the wall. Maybe your knee, right? If you can, think about balancing here. You can bring your arms off that wall, arms overhead. Or you can keep your hands at your heart if you'd rather keep your arms down. And if you're like, well, there's no way I'm letting go of that wall, then don't let go. And then when you're ready, release, put that foot down. Kind of march in place a little bit. Let yourself just march in place. Release your leg. Pick the feet up so it feels good. And now we got to do the other side. So hands are on the wall. You're going to bend the left knee behind you, foot behind you with the knee bent. So at first, just feel your quad stretch there. Pull your heel just with your leg muscles. It's like you're trying to pull your heel to your buttocks. And now come onto your right forearm on the wall. Put your head on your forearm. And now from there, this depends on you. You can keep your left hand there on the wall. Send the knee back a little farther if you want. Some of you, of course, want to reach back and get your foot. Now, if you have the foot or the ankle, you can pull the heel in towards your buttocks and really get your quad stretching. Or you can push the foot into your hand and let yourself imagine you're trying to straighten the leg out, which is very intense. It's a good stretch, though. It opens the front of the hip, too. One more breath. And now release to bring your hands to the wall. Swing that knee forward. Let your foot come in front of you. And again, you may put your knee on the wall. You may decide just to put your toes. Depends on how far you are away from the wall. And if you even want to imagine bringing your hands either off the wall to your heart or stretching your arms overhead. It's kind of fun one to play with, especially when you have the wall there and you feel safe. It's kind of funny. It doesn't seem like it should be that hard, does it? And then let yourself release and come on down. We're going to turn our backs to the wall. Walk your feet out maybe a foot away from the wall so your heels are maybe a foot away. You can just stay right here. If you're comfortable to be here, if you want to bend your knees a little bit, you can. If you feel like you just want to stay back into the wall to release, do. I know some of you, to bend your knees and come forward would feel good. Not for everybody, right? So if it doesn't feel good to come forward and put your elbows above your knees, don't do it. Or stay up higher, with your hands supporting you. I know some of you like to fold all the way over your legs. You can straighten your legs out. It's different than a forward bend where you don't have anything behind you, because right now your hips are back behind your heels. You can't really do this standing up or you fall over, right? So it's a very different stretch, but It's not for everybody, but if it is for you, I'm telling you, it feels great if it feels okay to your body, right? Nice. So one more breath. And now if you're forward, we're going to come up. So you're going to bend your knees, press into your feet. You can use your hands on your thighs. Come back up to the wall again. Let your arms come out beside you and turn your palms away from the wall. So the backs of your hands are pressing into the wall, low. So they're down low. You can kind of feel your shoulders on the wall there. Really press into the backs of the hands. Good. And then let yourself just come forward enough to clasp your hands right behind you. And so now you're not back with your hips to the wall, and this might be enough right here. If you feel like, I really just want to send my hips farther forward and let my gaze come up a little bit, you can. Don't force it. You know, it's fine if you're right here, still close to the wall. But if it feels even better to bring the chest a little more forward, maybe let your gaze come up a little bit. As long as there's not stress in your low back, right? You're engaging your belly. You're feeling just that openness in the front of the body. Yeah, it is a back bend, but it's a fairly safe, comfortable back bend. Oh, it's so great to have your head supported. One more breath. And then we're going to release and come back, hips to the wall. And then you can walk yourself back. We're going to come down and either sit in our chair or come down onto our bellies on the floor. So either one that you do, if you're on your belly, lie all the way down, make a little pillow with your hands, rest your forehead on your hands. And we're going to come back in here.
Now this is the best one right here. This one, this pose.
Yes, this pose is a wonderful pose.
You know,
My ankle really impedes my work.
Oh,
The
yeah.
ability to,
Is it sort of frozen?
yeah, a lot of it is. And I can't get my back heel all the way down the rest of these.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so once you're there now, see if you can bring yourself onto your forearms into a Sphinx pose. So in your chair, you can kind of just lean back into your chair and open your chest a little bit. We're just doing a little bit of a back bend here. And then clasp your hands together. Send your pinky finger out, bend your knees, and come up into a little half forearm plank here, pressing into the forearms. See if you can imagine you're pulling yourself, and actually do. Like, feel how when you pull, like you're pulling towards the front of the mat, feel how much more your belly engages and your low back. Yes, it does. It also affects your shoulders, but, you know, and if you want more, put your feet down, do your full forearm plank if you want. That's totally up to you. Take your time. And then we're going to release to come on down. And let your arms come on down alongside your body. Come onto your fingertips. And we're going to inhale the head, the chest, and the legs up. See if you can keep your fingertips down. Another little back bend. And you can float your hands up when you're ready, if it feels good. Try to keep the palms down, just so you get, when you face your palms down, your shoulders you're really more open across your chest. Good. One more breath. And then let yourself release. Come down for a breath. Breathe into your low back. Nice full breath. Good. And then bring your hands in by your chest, right by your upper chest. And float your head up a little bit and hug your elbows in towards your ribs and down towards your waist. See what that does across your chest. And that is a cobra pose. You don't have to go any higher than that. That's a cobra right there. If you feel like, well, I like to press into my hands and come up higher. It feels good. If it feels good, you can come up higher. And if not, stay down low. And if you need to do a Sphinx instead, do a Sphinx instead. Good. We're all going to come on into child pose from here. So you're going to make your way back as easily as you need to. You can do a seated forward bend to release your back to come forward. You can separate your feet and do what you did before. Bring your hands down more. Yes. And so you all on the floor in your child's pose, just be mindful. You can have your hands stacked up to rest your head. You can bring your arms softly overhead. Or you can bring your arms back alongside your legs. Turn your palms up. You know, that is all up to you. If you need to be forward on your forearms because you know your knees are not going to deeply bend like that, then be forward. You're still going to get a release in your low back, in your hips. Follow your breaths all the way in and all the way out. So see if you can just watch your breath all the way through. To the end of your inhales, feel that little pause, and then follow your exhale all the way out. Feel that little pause before you inhale again. Good. One more breath. And now take your time to bring your hands back so you can come up. If you're in your child's pose, we're going to bring our legs on around to sitting. And if you know sitting for you with your legs forward like this and long is better done sitting up on a blanket. Do that, okay? So let yourself do that. Actually, for the first thing, you can even scoot back to the wall. You'll have to scoot out a little bit when we do a twist. But if you're like, oh my gosh, it feels really good to have the wall behind you, you can sit with the wall behind you if you want to. You just want to make sure you got your hips all the way to the wall so you have these natural curves in your back. Your whole back's not flattened to the wall, right? We're all different built, but you can just release there and let it feel pretty good. And now, as you have your feet flexed and your heels on the floor, draw them back towards you a little bit. Good. And now everybody's going to bring their right arm up overhead, and we're going to come into side stretch. So you can come over into your side stretch. If you're on the floor, obviously your left hand can be on the floor giving you support, but you can keep your back in towards the wall, which is kind of a different experience. Right? Now, it doesn't matter how you turn this top hand. Palm forward, palm down. You know, you can even play with pressing up into the heel of your hand a little bit. Good. And then we're going to slowly come up, and we're going to switch to the other side. So the left arm comes up. We're going to come over to the side. Again, you can kind of play with what you do with that top hand. Palm can face down with the thumb towards the wall. You can put the back of your hand into the wall. You can turn to press up into the heel of the hand if you want a different feeling. Nice. And then we're going to release and come on back up. Let yourself just sit here for a second, feeling supported there either by the chair or the wall behind you. Lengthen up through the top of your head. Good. Now if you are at the wall, we're going to slip just a little bit forward, right? So if you have a block under you, you'll have to pick it up and come forward, and then let yourself come just a little bit away from the wall because we're going to twist. So let's bring our right foot to the inside of our calf. So make sure you keep the foot low. Don't try to pull it up, even if you usually do, into your inner thigh, but keep it down right by your calf. And now we're going to bring our left hand to our right knee and come over into a twist with our right hand behind us, right? Now if you can, take your left arm and let it come to the outside of that right leg. Good. Yes, that's it. Nice. Let yourself lengthen up through the crown of your head. If this bothers your shoulder, go back to putting your hand on your knee. Good. Feel the sitting bones reaching down, and think about lengthening upward through the top of your head. One more breath. And then as you exhale, bring yourself back around into center. And we're going to switch legs. So again, keeping the foot low just because it's a different experience in the twist and in your shoulder. So once you start to twist to your left and you bring your left hand behind you, try to see if you can just release that arm, that right arm, long, and the palm will kind of face away from you so your shoulder feels good. Good. and just lengthen up now through the top of your head. Don't forget there's this sense of the twist is in the middle of the back, the sitting bones are in the chair of the ground, and the top of the head is reaching up towards the ceiling. Nice. One more breath. And now use your belly. You're going to come on back around into center, stretch your legs out for a second, and widen your legs out a little bit here so that you have a little more space between your feet and your legs are long. And then ease your way just a little bit forward there. You can put your hands on your shins. You can come down further if you want, reaching for your ankles or your toes. But just let it feel really good. Feel the backs of the legs. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to slowly make our way on back up. Bring your legs on together. Kind of shake out a little bit. Do little wiper blades if you can with your feet or side to side. Little bounces if you like little bounces. We're going to make our way down onto our backs on the floor. So, be mindful when you come down. Take your time. Bring your feet to the floor at first so your knees are bent. Let your knees come side to side a little bit. And then get your knees back to center. We're going to bring our right knee in towards our chest and extend our left leg down long on the floor. There you go. Good. And then we're going to switch legs. So just bringing the other knee in towards you, whether you hold behind your thigh or you hold your shin. Good. We're going to switch again. This time, as you bring your right knee in and you extend your left leg long, put your left hand down kind of on the top of your top of your thigh, your left upper thigh there. You're up high. And now this is totally optional. As you exhale, if you can lift your head up, do. So you're looking down at your left toes. So you can send your hand further down too if you want, down your thigh. You don't have to do this. Engage your belly if you're here. And then we're going to lower back down with our head. And we're going to switch legs. So bringing the left knee in, extending the right leg long. And again, you can hold behind your thigh or on your shin, below your knee. Put your right hand on the top of your right thigh there. And this is optional. So if it bothers your neck, don't do it. But if you want to exhale, lift your head up and slide your right hand down a little bit. You can feel the belly engaging in the low back. If it bothers your neck, don't do it. And then we'll release to come back down. We're going to bring both knees back in. Stretch your legs out and up overhead and go back and forth like you're cross-country skiing on the ceiling a little bit. Let your feet flex. And if you want to, one leg at a time can come down farther, so that you go slower and you let the leg come down so you feel your core body engage. But you don't want to go so far that your back pops off the floor. You have that natural curve in your low back, but you're not letting your pelvis move around. And that's what using the core is all about. You're not letting yourself feel the pelvis change in any way, and you're really using the muscles of the belly and the back, and of course your hips. So finish off, feet back up again, bend your knees and come into a little happy baby if you can. Now how far you slide the knees out, up to you. You can take hold of your feet, you can hold on behind your thighs, you can roll around a little bit side to side if you want. Really just take your time. Now start to listen to your body. What feels good right now to you, right? You want to do a little bridge pose. We already did quite a bit of back bending today, so it might feel very comfortable for you to do a supported bridge or a bridge pose. You may feel like there's something else that would be really good for you to do. And that could be anything. You might want to come into a twist, another kind of a twist here on your back. So you can twist either with both knees coming side to side, or you can twist really however you want. You can let one knee come in and across. Or there might be any number of things that would feel good to you right now. There is no right or wrong thing to do right now. If you feel tension in some part of your body, see what you can do to release it. So you start to walk around. We get light first, and then I'm going to head around with stuff. Bolsters, blankets, anything that might help you be more comfortable. So remember, if you start to lie out and you feel really like not good in your back. I know some people want bolsters. If they have their feet in the air, that means they're giving you a good sign. Or if you have your knees bent, sometimes I'll ask you if you want one. Do you want that bolster? There you go. You have to rearrange it here. So sometimes it needs to get closer, sometimes farther. What a bolster does is it really does change the angle of your pelvis. Just a little bit, enough for some people for it to be really a huge difference in how their backs feel. Alright? Some people it doesn't work at all, so if you've never tried it and you think you might want to, just wait at me. And you can always move it if you decide that does not feel good to have that under your knees. And there are also smaller bolsters, and sometimes you're welcome. Sometimes smaller bolsters feel better. It's not as much of a change in your pelvis. Just be mindful as you start to let yourself release. Now, feeling your arms, legs, releasing as they feel kind of heavy up into your shoulders and your hips. And let your face soften, let your jaw go. If it helps to turn your head a little side to side, sometimes that helps you release a little better. And then it's as simple as just being with your own breath. Watching your breath coming in and going out. When your mind wanders off, just gently return to your breath. And feel how the quieting of the breath really allows you to definitely relax more in your body, but also become a little quieter in your brain. So give yourself these few minutes and allow yourself to completely and fully relax. physical, there on the ground again, feeling your breath come in and go out more fully and more deeply. Feeling the actual physical movement of the body as you breathe in and out. And let the deeper breaths start to bring energy back to you so that your fingers and your toes might start to want to move and wiggle first. And as you come into your hands, your feet, you might want to circle through your wrists, your ankles a little bit to start to reach into your arms, your legs, moving how you need. You know that if you need to stretch or if you need to bend. If you feel good to roll onto either side, you know you're welcome anytime to come onto your side. Into a soft fetal position with the knees bent is a good way to give your body and your brain a little time to transition there. And of course, be easy when you do feel okay to rise up to sitting. You want yourself to get comfortable in how you're sitting and be okay in your hips. Let yourself start to, as your eyes are closed, lengthen upward once you're seated comfortably. So you can come back to your breath. It's really easy to breathe once you're sitting nice and tall. Feel how easy it is to bring the breath into your belly. And on your next exhale, allow your hands gently to meet there in front of your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.
Namaste.
Happy Thursday.
There's Monday. It's hard to keep up with this.
Isn't it?
Take your time.
Many days are yoga days.
Yeah.
Which yoga days?
I keep trying to make it be Tuesday.
Yeah, oh, no, you're so fortunate, you're much closer to in the city.
Going tomorrow? We're going the end of next week.
Oh, yeah.
Assuming the baby's well, she's sick again. She's got respiratory, well, she got ear infection.